Have you ever watched the person you love flirt with someone else while pretending you don't exist?
I noticed the shift in my wife, Lavra, long before I was willing to admit it to myself. She'd become lighter around other men and colder around me, as if all her warmth had been redirected somewhere else. At gatherings, she'd drift away from me almost immediately, always finding a reason to stand near someone who wasn't her husband. One night, we went to a friend's birthday party, and the tension between us felt so thick from the moment we walked in. She immediately gravitated toward this tall guy I'd never seen before, a man who seemed to really enjoy the attention she was pouring onto him. I just watched as she tilted her head, laughed a little too loudly, and touched his arm like it was the most natural thing in the world. I tried to approach her gently, just hoping she would remember that I was there with her, but she just brushed me off with this irritated sigh. She claimed she was just being friendly and told me not to be so dramatic. I tried to ignore the sting of her words, but it just sat there, heavy in my chest. She kept insisting it was all innocent flirting, even as she played with her hair and leaned in closer to the man. I waited for her to stop on her own, but she didn't. Instead, she let him compliment her dress, her smile, and her figure. She absolutely glowed under his attention in a way she hadn't glowed for me in years. When I quietly asked her to tone it down, she just rolled her eyes and said I was embarrassing her. The man just smirked at my discomfort, clearly enjoying the whole spectacle she was creating. Then she asked him what he was drinking and offered to get another round with him. I just stood there, feeling like a complete stranger in my own marriage. She laughed again and handed him her phone, telling him to put his number in. He did it so confidently, like he already knew she wouldn't say no. When he handed the phone back, she smiled at him in a way that confirmed everything I was afraid of. She told me I needed to loosen up and then accused me of trying to control her. I reminded her that she was married, and she just shrugged, like the label meant nothing at all. She said she wasn't going to limit herself just because I was insecure. My chest tightened as she said it, but she didn't even notice. She went back to the man and started whispering something that made him laugh deeply. I just stepped away, not even sure whether to be angry or heartbroken. From across the room, I watched them talk so closely, her body angled toward him with an intent she pretended didn't exist. Our friends around us exchanged these uncomfortable glances, but nobody said anything. They could all see what was happening, even if she refused to acknowledge it. I left the party early. I just couldn't stand the humiliation any longer. She didn't follow me. She didn't call. She didn't even ask if I was okay. She stayed at that party until long after midnight. When she finally came home, she smelled like perfume and smoke. She just dropped her purse on the floor and told me that I had overreacted. She insisted that nothing happened and then blamed me for leaving. I asked her why she gave him her number, and she just claimed it was harmless. I didn't believe her, but at that point she didn't care. She went to bed without a single word of apology. Over the next few days, she became so secretive with her phone. She'd laugh at messages she wouldn't let me see. She'd step outside to take calls. She started dressing more boldly and leaving the house a lot more often. And each lie she told just slid out smoother than the last one. I tried to talk to her, but she met me with irritation every single time. She said she was tired of being questioned and that she deserved to feel wanted. I just felt myself shrinking, completely unsure of how to stop what was happening. One evening she left for a supposed girls' night, but something inside me just felt wrong. Hours passed with no updates. Near midnight, I decided to drive past the bar she claimed she was at. Her car wasn't there. I drove around town, just searching for any sign of her, and eventually I saw her car. It was parked behind a hotel. She was in the lobby with the same man from the party, standing closer than any married woman should. I watched through the glass as she touched his chest and laughed softly. My heart just cracked in a way I hadn't known was possible. I didn't confront her right then because I just wasn't ready for the truth that was standing right in front of me. I went home and I sat in the dark, waiting for her to return. When she finally walked in at almost 3 a.m, she didn't even look guilty. She just said she needed attention and wasn't going to apologize for enjoying herself. The dismissiveness in her voice hurt more than the betrayal itself. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened, humming as she made coffee. I realized then that nothing I said or did would ever bring back the woman I married. She had already chosen another path. I stepped outside, letting the cool morning air steady my breath. I understood that the marriage I had been trying so hard to protect no longer existed. I wasn't ready to decide my next move, but I knew the story wasn't finished yet. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that nothing between us would ever return to what it once was.